Reopen for in-person classes or stick with remote learning? That's the difficult choice colleges are facing as the fall semester begins. A number of prominent colleges and universities have already welcomed students back for classes, only to reverse course because of COVID-19 outbreaks. Colgate University in North Central New York has managed to open its campus and keep it open so far after some careful planning. Errol Barnett went back to school to see how the university is trying to stay safe and stay in session.
You're not coming back to normal. You're coming back to a new normal.
That's Brian Casey's message to the returning 2,500 students at Colgate University in upstate New York.
We are outside Lawrence Hall.
To bring them back, the president of the two-century-old school has an unprecedented plan.
So you enter, you have to come immediately to the right, where a machine will instantly take your temperature.
And this camera is using infrared technology to
Yes.
detect and assume your temperature.
Yep. So every classroom now shows you the physical distancing patterns, and then you can see that all the chairs have been pulled 6 feet apart.
So only 9 students at a time.
In a room that probably would have had 20 to 22.
Wow.
So this is a small lecture hall where you can see that the seats have been blocked off. But more importantly, you see a camera off to our right that as the professor moves, the camera and the monitor move with him. So for those who are watching from home remotely, they're getting the whole classroom experience. And
Casey decided against all remote learning and instead structured a reopening plan with advice from medical and scientific experts. The key? A mandatory 2-week on-campus quarantine as step 1. All learning is initially virtual. Meals delivered straight to students' dorms and time spent outside scheduled. Colgate's faculty and staff are also undergoing routine testing.
Why do you think this might be the safest approach?
all of our students will have been tested before they show up, upon arrival, and during the quarantine toward the end. So we will know at the end of those 14 days that any student coming out will have had 3 negative tests within a normal period in which the disease exhibits itself.
Awesome. That's it.
It's a secluded community.
Alex didn't have a chance to return home to Vietnam when COVID-19 closed the school in the spring. The international student has been living on campus ever since and supports the quarantine.
What do you say to other students who are fearful in coming back to campus?
I think the fear is totally valid. I myself am very nervous about everyone coming back.
How risky do you feel it is for you to be on campus?
I actually think it's less risky for me to be on campus rather than returning home.
Mariana Lemon is willing to make sacrifices for the on-campus experience. The freshman from the Bronx moved in over the summer.
I still want to have a freshman year and I'm still here and I'm honestly willing to always be in my room and just take classes online from my room and only talk to my roommate and maybe have the social distance lunches or dinners kind of deals outside when it's still warm out. So I'm willing to have a alternate freshman year if that's what it takes.
The students we spoke with admit the lack of socializing will be difficult.
When you're apart, you're not building that kind of connection that you would have when you're here.
Especially for a linebacker on the school's football team. A.J. DeSantis says team building is the point.
That's one of the most important things in football because it's not one guy in the field at a time. It's many guys on the field, guys working together, special teams, offense, defense, everything together.
If there's one thing we've seen nationwide, from Georgia Tech to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and USC, it's that college students will still socialize in large groups despite the risk, leading those campuses to either shut down or quarantine infected students. Casey has a plan for that too.
We're doing wastewater testing. The virus exhibits itself in wastewater often before you see it in your mucus or your blood.
Really?
Yes. So we have put readers, wastewater readers, on all of our residence halls, all of the houses on Broad Street where a lot of our students live. So if we detect any increase in the virus, which you'll see first in wastewater, we will immediately test everyone in that particular house.
How much is it costing you to do this?
Millions of dollars. We purchased a hotel, so we have a quarantine site.
Millions in the singular, or are we approaching $10 million?
We are below 10 million. 3 rounds of testing, rapid testing machines. All of our dining halls had to be completely retrofitted to have grab and go. extra staff to do the testing. You know, we're north of $4 million right now. That's a lot of money just out of pocket.
So you want this to work?
I want this to work.
So much so, President Casey is currently living in a dorm room himself, neighboring his students for 17 days.
If I'm asking you to do this, I'll do it too. So whatever food you're eating, I'm going to eat. Whatever rules you have about when you're allowed outside, that's when I'll go outside. So I'm doing it with them.
No special treatment? Are we supposed to believe that from the college president?
The fact that I have a single with my own bathroom strikes people as a real plus.
And the president's RA, Alex.
He'll be staying in my floor in my building, so it's a lucky coincidence.
Are you going to lay down the law if you see the
Yes.
president break the rules?
Yes, I am not afraid to have that conversation.
Okay. We will be following up.
Okay.
Casey acknowledges the living situation he's asking students to go through isn't ideal. But in our new world, he says, it's essential.
Why is that an important point to make?
Because in our culture, we rarely talk about public good. We rarely talk about sacrificing individual needs for benefits that accrue to everybody. That's not part of our political rhetoric. It's not part of our culture anymore. So we want to tell them this is going to be hard and that they need to learn to think about not just themselves, but other people. And I think we're an educational institution. Why don't we make that something they're learning this year? Why don't we make that the lesson?
For CBS This Morning Saturday, Errol Barnett, Hamilton, New York.
I like this guy.
Yeah.
This guy gets it.
And he walks the walk, doesn't
And-
just talk to talk.
Right.
Look, life is about choices. And that's what these students are facing right now. If you want to be on campus, here's an option.
Yeah.
He might get it. It doesn't mean all 20-year-olds
Yeah.
always get it.
Without a doubt.
It's tough.
We all admit it.
socializing is part of the college
Yeah,
experience.
Right.
but you know
College
what?
experience. And
As Americans, we forget freedom is oftentimes not free, and with it comes great responsibility. So, kids, let's learn.